perception, because like the goal of this conversation should be to like progress, right? Do like unless you're ladies that you don't want to fucking deal with men at all, then we should talk
Yeah, we
about
don't
that.
want to deal
But
with
if
black men at all.
I
We
okay,
love
don't even
all
want to
well
know what
men
then
y'all
and
say.
not black men. Just not
okay.
black men.
Well, is there any women here who don't want to deal with men, period, or is it just black men, or is it a mixture?
It's just black men, and we actually want non-black men's help in these corrections that you speak of.
So what are the corrections that you're looking for specifically?
Force, force, because that's the only thing that's gonna work.
But I mean, what are you looking for black men to arrive at? A place of understanding of like what do you want to see
Well, me
We
change?
believe that
personally,
there is no hope for them. That we don't believe in changing their minds. We don't. But I'm trying not to say what I really want to say because you're on stage. But if they could not exist, hey, we wouldn't be mad at.
I think for me, I think I want the coddling culture to kind of stop. I think they get validated a little bit too much and they're not held accountable as much as white men, Hispanic men, Asian men. Like the legal system works in their benefit a little bit more than they think it does. They're seen as the ultimate, like most oppressed. And I think that that coddling culture needs to stop and they need to be held accountable for their actions.
Alright, Shalom, Shalom, once again, all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High. Yahweh Basham, Yahweh Basham, Bakakwadash, double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, and salutations to all you Siakian. And this is your brother Abawan back again with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Basham, Yahweh Basham, Bakakwadash, all praises and glory to you. So we're going to go right into it. So let's see right here. This is the book of Micah 7 verse 10. Then she that is mine enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her which said unto me, where is Yahweh thy power? Mine eyes shall behold her. Now shall she be trodden down as mire of the streets can. And if in case and you I'm sure that and Lord's willing I posted the video that I'm responding to. Alright, so the excerpt that was the clip from this video right here on YouTube from Che Charday. Awful. These black women consulted the enemy to destroy black men. Where you basically had a bunch of Eves, right? The nigger woman in a, I believe it was either a Twitter or a TikTok space, one of these social media, spaces where you have your little conversations, and they basically did that with suspected, Edomite supremacists, right? With Esau, and they were talking about how they want to eradicate, they want to take out the Jake man, the so-called black man. And this isn't them saying, oh, well, it's black fatigue. We're done with these YNs. We're done with these N words. No, it's all, it's all Israelites men, regardless of whether they are, into the whole stereotypical, black American, so-called black American bullshit or not. Okay, and this really is what you face, right? When it comes to our women, right? That's why the Apostle Taha said, "Hey man, stay away from the nigger woman. Stay away from the nigger woman, right? Don't get with the nigger woman because of things like this." And you can clearly see the hatred and disdain that our women, especially in America, Babylon the Great, have for us, right? That's why we're in hell, man. That's why, hey, that's how deep the situation is for us right here, right? But once again, that is also a part of the curses. So let's get that precept, right? And this is what feminism, right? Women's liberation and Esau Edom's hypnosis, right? Esau Edom's wickedness has done to our people, especially, or in this case, mainly our women, right? So let's get this precept real quick. Deuteronomy 25, Sakia. Deuteronomy 28, verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and towards her daughter. Right. And that's just an showing you an example of the hatred that Eve has for the Israelite man. Okay, the so-called you so-called Negroes, specifically the so-called Negroes, right? But the hatred that Eve has for the Israelite men, right? Specifically Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which is the southern kingdom. You also see that self-same hatred, right, in the nigger woman for our children, with how often you hear of these women leaving their children in these hot vehicles, leaving their children at home and going out and partying, killing, straight up murdering their children. And I'm not talking about abortions, okay? I'm talking about, after birth, right? Where they either kill the children, throw them in the dumpster, or even abortion in and of itself, right? That's something that, Eve loves to do as a pastime, right? And that is all playing into, right, the curses and the curses, but most especially the wickedness of our people, and especially of the nigger woman right now, the two-third women, because this is what they are doing, right? The same way that the nations are coming together looking for how to eradicate our people. Now you have these women, right? Eve, okay? That's why you have things like, the divestors, the swirlers, that, basically Eve that just wants to deal primarily with Esau, right? Because they believe that, being with Esau is just a way for them to basically break off from the curses and break off from being, in the curses, right? That's beside the point, man. Because you can clearly see and hear, how these women feel, man. How the nigger woman, especially the two-third, right? Let me just say that the two-third nigger woman feels about you jakes, man, right? The hatred, which is why once again the Apostle Taha said, stay away from the nigger woman, man. And this is just showing you, this is why we say stay away from the nigger woman, because you women, man, you really think that you are all that. That's why you have these stupid ideologies, like for example, that one where they say that, oh, this one that these nigger women, online like to say that, men created God because they couldn't take or handle the fact that women create life, right? That whole black unconscious idea of the black woman being God. Oh, all the different men and human beings, came from a so-called, like a so-called black woman's womb, and so on and so forth, right? Even though, the life, first and foremost, it comes from the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai. All right, you women do not create life, but life comes from the Heavenly Father, right? Let's get that precept. Let's get that precept. The nigger woman claims that, she is a god, right? And I think one of these scoffers that, the elder Manatazakba always posts about, she also said something that's similar to that, right? The nigger woman claims that she is, she's a god, right? Well, can she do this? Let's see if we can get this precept. Here it is. So this is the book of Deuteronomy 32, verse 39. See now that even I am he, and there is no power with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. Right, and the emphasis being kill and make alive. Can the nigger woman make alive? Right? Can she give life? No, she cannot. Right. The womb of Eve, right? The woman is solely for protecting, right? Solely for incubating life. Okay, the life comes from the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai. And really, the man is the one that is actually putting the life in the woman. Okay, and this, you never see us jakes, Israelite men come out and say stupid things like this. Okay, the life, like I said, the life comes from the Heavenly Father, man, and the man is the one that puts the life in the woman for you to incubate it, right? That's why it is called the husband, a planter. If you go into the etymology of the word husband, it basically means planter. The life, right? The seed comes from the man. The life comes from the Heavenly Father. That's why lineages are patrilineal, okay? That's why your bloodline goes through the line of your fathers, because your father is the one that is giving you, that bloodline, right? That's why you are whatever nationality your father is, okay? And like I said, man, we as Israelite men, we don't need, Eve, right, in order to create more Israelite children, okay? And that is, one of the biggest issues that these women out here nowadays have, especially the modern, Western Babylonian woman, in which the idea of feminism has polluted your minds. Let me get a quick precept, okay? That should be not menstrual semen. Yeah, that should be like Isaiah the third chapter. That's why people write, women are their oppressors and children rule over them. Should I get that precept? I've already said I wanted to bring that, so let me just go and get it, right? I don't think it really, in the context of this video, I don't think it really was the best word to use. In the context of this video, I don't think it's a really a good precept to bring out, but let's just go into it anyway. So this is the book of Isaiah 3 verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee, cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy paths, right? And the children in this case referring to Esau, Edom, the so-called red man, right? Children are their oppressors, and the oppressors of our people being, of course, Esau, Edom. And you can clearly see Eve, right? The nigger woman, women rule over them, being, standing side by side with these devils, okay, in order to keep, putting that heavy yoke upon our people, man. And that, why else would Eve be out here with these Edomites crying to Esau, talking about some help us, talking about some if possible, right? Help us hold these quote unquote quote unquote black, right, so-called black men accountable. Help us to hold them as so-called accountable, and if possible, if they could not exist anymore, right? You see the terms and what she's saying. And this is basically from the if you know about this woman, Cynthia G school of hate, right? Israelite man hatred. And this just shows you, like the scriptures say, man. And that's because that's all this video really is here for, to highlight the simple fact that, hey, the nigger woman, okay, is your enemy, especially especially the southern kingdom woman, that she is your enemy. So let me get another quick precept. Let me see if I can find that precept. I think it's goes something along the lines of do the rent test or something like that. Rent test. Here it is. Let's start from the top. Oh, yeah. Yeah, here it is. So this is the book of Jeremiah 4 verse 30. Right, because basically, a little background first, these men they are running to, right? These Edomites men that you are running to, they cut off your EBT, they cut off your SNAP, they mass fired you women, right? As targeted especially you Israelite women, okay? These are the devils these are the same devils that, hey, the nigger woman ran to, right? And basically, chose over the man, right? The same devils when it came to the man in the house law, when it came to those food stamps and those SNAP and EBT benefits that you are currently getting, and now the devil has taken all those things away from you. And of course, we did have some AI videos floating around of these so-called black women, right? Of Eve basically crying about how they are going to rob and steal in order to make up for losing that EBT and SNAP and the basically the food stamp benefits, right? But of course, those were mainly, of course, you had your AI videos that were forced, but you did have real videos of women actually saying that they would do that, right? Showing you, man, they show you ultimately, man. Now these women out here, man. Now Eve is through, all right. Eve is through, man. But this is the book of Jeremiah 4 verse 30, and you're still trusting in this devil, still going to him and crying to him, looking at him for want of all things, right? As the scriptures say. And that shows you, man, that that these women truly were never, with us in this captivity, man. Or this captivity, man, because now look at the situation, man. Look at the situation. That's why the Apostle Gabriel said that that women who flock to the women are basically just natural followers, man. They will flock to whoever has the power, right? So now Jeremiah 4 verse 30. And when thou art spoiled, and what wilt thou do? Though thou clothe thyself with crimson, though thou deckest thee with ornaments of gold, though thou rentest thy face with painting, in vain shalt thou make thyself fair. Thy lovers will despise thee, that they will seek thy life, right? And basically that's what Eve is doing, right? Thou trimmest thy ways to seek love, as the scriptures say, right? You gave up the man, your protector, your leader, your head, right? In order to go over to Esau Edom, thinking that you can get benefit, you can be an independent woman, because that's really what that was, right? Eve man does not like being under, especially the Israelites man, right? Our women have no problem being under. So like, yeah, I said Eve doesn't like being under, especially the Israelite man. She has no problem being under Esau, right? But the main purpose of, basically the man in the house act, that's the reason why Eve fell for it heavily, because she wanted to be independent from you Israelites, man, you Jake men out here, right? That's why the scriptures say, give not the woman liberty to get abroad. And you see how she has abused herself. Of course, Eve, has abused herself over all that independence. But what you women don't understand, and what you are being warned of by the men of the Lord for decades now, is that, hey, eventually these devils are going to, turn back around and show you their horns, man. When they are done with you, hey, they're going to destroy you, man. You women are still going to be destroyed, as the scriptures say, by the Most High Yahweh Shami Awashai. Now, okay, yeah, I've already gotten that preset. I've already gotten that preset. So yeah, and it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame, man. It's a damn shame. But it's yeah, it's a damn shame, man. It's a damn shame. But just like the Apostle Tahar said, right? So let me just end with that message. Once again, stay away from the nigga woman. Stay away from Eve. Get you one of these scattered Israelite women that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Get you a northern kingdom woman. So with that, I'll end the video right there. Once again, all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High Yahweh Ba'asham Yawashai Ba'asham Kwadash Wa Abad Babala, and through the Spirit Happy Akim and Joaquat were edified. And the women that are here in anyway, Shalom.